Hey everyone, welcome back to KC3D Sparks. Today we are going to be continuing with our Inn and Tavern series. So I hope you're ready to create some food on one of these tables, because that's what we're going to be diving into today. Thought we would just steal one of our trestle tables here. Go ahead and hit M to move it to a free layer. Boop. And I'm going to go ahead and move it to the center here. So we're going to do origin to 3D cursor, geometry to origin, so now it's in the center. Cool. So one of the things I wanted to make, or a few of the things I wanted to make, were just some things that you can have at your tavern any time of the year or whatever you want. Like we will do a turkey and things like that because it is November. But yeah, so I thought we would do a cheese wheel, some bread, turkey, ham, maybe a fruit platter, and some sausage links. But we'll see how far we get, how long it takes. If I fast forward through some of it, I'm sorry. It's just to make this video not too long. I'm not going to make all of the food pieces super detailed since it's going to be super small when we print it out anyway. We need it to be just exaggerated enough to kind of get the hint across. And then once we paint it, once it's printed, you know, you'll get the gist. So I'm having my table here because it's already the right size for what we want it when we have it printed out. So after we're done modeling the whichever food piece and platter, whatever, we can just size it on top of our table. We'll probably Boolean it together so that way we can just print it as one piece. If you want, you can certainly just have your food pieces separate and like glue them together or whatever, but I'm probably gonna Boolean it so it can just print as one piece. All right, so let's dive in. Let's go ahead and just start with some of the basics first so we can get warmed up. So let's do Shift A, go to mesh, and I'm gonna do circle. Also real quick, I forgot to mention, if you guys haven't already had your scene and everything set up, make sure you have your scene set to whatever unit of measure you prefer to work in. I'm going to work in inches, and I have the scale of my grid to 1/4 of an inch, which isn't going to matter too much in this video since we're already using this table kind of as our guide. So, but you know, just what I like to do. For this circle, since I'm not going to worry about adding a subdivision surface modifier or anything, I'm going to go ahead and just leave the vertices as is. Of course, if you wanted, you could certainly crank it down a little bit to make it less dense, but I'm just going to leave it. So let's tab into edit mode. Everything's already selected, so we're just going to hit E to extrude and escape and see which way the normals are. So we're going to want to extrude it down, make sure the dark shaded part is on the inside. And I'm just going to select everything and shrink it down so we can kind of start having it on our table. Obviously that is a huge cheese wheel, so I'm going to shrink it down some more. Maybe about that size would be good. Maybe do a little taller. Awesome. One of the things I wanted to do was have a chunk missing, like a slice was already out. So what I'll do is I'm just going to go ahead and grab this. Actually, let's grab these, make sure I have the top and bottom, and then I want to pull that all the way into the center, and I want it to be a little bit wider. So what I'll do is I'm going to grab all 4 of these. I'm going to hit X, dissolve edges to just widen that. I think that looks good. And then we'll just close this up. So let's grab this loop, and we can do just F for fill. I think I'm just going to go ahead and do that. Fill that. And if you wanted, we'll leave the bottom flat, but if you wanted this to be a little bit more round, you can hit Control B and bevel the edge a little bit. Obviously don't go too far because then it'll be super crazy, but just do a little bit, maybe like that. You'll want it pretty dramatic so that way when you print it, it'll actually be noticeable. But if you want it even a little bit more rounded, you could always add another loop in and try to round it out a little bit too. Oops. Maybe more like that. I think that looks pretty good. So we have a cheese wheel / Pac-Man. Awesome. So let's just go ahead and move that to the side. And actually, I'm going to move the origin to the actual circle itself. So origin to geometry, and then I'm just going to sink that down into the table. We rotate it with something like that. And I also want to make sure that it's sunken down deep enough so that way, even though we have these little divots here for the wood pieces, it's going to boolean in perfectly. So that should work. Okay, so next I want to go ahead and do the bread. So let's do it. Shift A, circle for the first one. There's two different bread loaves that I want to make. This one's going to be round. We're going to do triangle fan. Let's just bring that up. I was going to do triangle fan for the cheese wheel, but I forgot, so I just used F for fill. Sorry for that. Tab into edit mode. We're going to alt right click this outer ring, E to extrude, see which way it goes, which we'll want it going down. However, I do want this the other way, so I'm just gonna go front view, rotate 180 degrees and hit enter. So now we have that hole on the top, and then we can just focus in on here, grab that tap loop and bring it down, extrude it up, size it in, extrude it again, size it some more, bring it down, go over to your modifiers tab, and then we're going to add the subdivision surface modifier. Crank that up a couple, and then for the bottom and the top, I mean, we want it to look kind of a dome. So I'm going to go ahead and add a loop to the base to make it a little bit flatter, but we still have a nice edge. So for the top, we'll go ahead and right click that loop again and extrude it and size it in. We'll do E to extrude, Alt M to merge that. Undo that. We'll just do that Alt M, merge there. And then we want to go ahead and have the X slit on top, so that way it looks like it was actually cut into, and it's what you typically see in, like I was saying, like Skyrim and stuff. So you want to kind of look at the top and plot out how exactly you want this to look. So grab these two with the middle and the other opposing two to make that perfect X. And we're going to go ahead and just make sure that looks good. I'm probably going to size this up a little bit first. And then we'll go ahead, draw that down some more, bring this out, draw that down, out some more. I think that probably looks good. Go ahead and reselect those vertices for the X cut. So I'm just going to grab those four, go into the front angle, just draw it down some and kind of get a look of how it's coming. Looking pretty good. Want to probably go ahead and bring forward some of these vertices. So I'm going to add a loop here. Just hit escape so it stays in the center. And then I'm going to go ahead and select these four that are in the middle of these. So go ahead and select those vertices on all four sides. And 1, 2, 3, 4. And we'll go ahead and we'll have to draw them up and in. So sizing in first. We might even want to sharpen these edges, see how you feel about it. Right now, it's looking closer to what I want. Let's bring them up more. I think that looks pretty good. You can certainly test out sharpening edges, like I said, to make it more defined, or move around your edges to see what looks best for this X cutout. Maybe even crease the actual slits themselves. So I think right now I might just leave it. I'm not sure how much of a difference it's going to make, since it, like I said, it is going to be printed pretty small. So I think I'll just make this a little bit taller, kind of round it out some more, and probably just leave it as is. So let's go ahead and size it down. We're going to go ahead and compare it, bring it down, probably make it a little bit smaller because it's still pretty large. Go ahead and match it up to the actual cheese wheel. So probably draw that down, be sunken into the table. Maybe size it along the z-axis. Oops, maybe not quite that much. Bring that back down. Draw that over, like that. And then we'll go ahead and do Shift A, mesh, and cube for the next loaf of bread. Go ahead and just select everything if you want. Control R, and we're gonna do a loop and then go ahead and delete the other side so we can do our mirror modifier. So it's modifiers tab, mirror. And then don't forget to check clipping. So we have that on there. So that way we would only have to model half the bread. Go ahead and size that to be a little bit closer to the size we're doing. So go ahead, maybe about there to start. And then we are going to go ahead and add our subdivision surface modifier. I'll crank it up to 3. I think that looks best for what we're trying to achieve. And then I'm going to go ahead and do Control R. And I'll scroll up to 3. I think 3 looks good. Just go ahead and place those in the center. Go into the front view and we'll go ahead and do wireframe view, grab those edges and bring them down to slope the edge. Bring that in maybe? Nah, we'll probably leave it straight. I think that looks best. Of course, you know, total personal preference there. But now we're going to go ahead and do the 2 loops in the middle so that way we can get our others. You can always do scroll up to get that a little bit faster and just size along the x-axis. Do that one. Oops, missed the 2. Try that again. Right there. Looks good. And one more on the edge right there. And then we'll go ahead and select all of those. Grab our z-axis and just draw it down. We'll have to make it pretty dramatic to make sure that it's visible, and I just went ahead and sharpened all of those and, you know, just play around with it, see if it's too deep or, you know, just however you feel. For this, I do want it to slope a little bit more, so I think I'm going to go ahead and go down here to proportional editing and change that to connected to add a little bit more detail. But you'll notice that little white circle appears when I start moving, and it's really small. It's not going to do much, so I'm going to use the scroll wheel to make that larger and take effect. However, I don't want the whole thing to move, so I am going to have to shrink it down to only affect the top pieces or top vertices. So just have a little bit of fun with that, and I'll probably grab these center ones here, pull that up. It's kind of looking more like a weird caterpillar at the moment, but no worries. Can always fix it more later. I think that's looking good for now, though. Once we get it painted and everything, it'll probably look better. So go ahead, fix the origin. Oops, that didn't work. To undo that, make sure you apply your mirror modifier first, and then you can change the origin like that. Pull it down, size it down, pull it back up, and go ahead and drag it down more so we can place it next to the other bread piece. So obviously I'm just placing mine where I think I want mine to have mine booleaned in when I print it out, since it's all going to be connected. If you're not printing it out all connected, you don't have to reposition it like I am. Plus, it's probably better that you didn't like apply all the modifiers until you know you are done all the way. But, you know, I'm just having fun with it, so do what you want. Okay, so moving on, let's go ahead and tackle the turkey next. So we'll go ahead and start with Shift A, mesh, and we're going to start with a cube again. Scroll out so we can take a look at it, and we're just going to hop into the side or the front view, sorry. Drag that up so we can see that table, size it down, and bring it back over again. Going to change the origin back to the cursor in a second. You don't forget, if you ever get your cursor out of place, you can hit Shift C and that'll get that back there for you. But first, let's go ahead and, I guess, get this mirror modifier going. Oh, don't forget to turn your proportional editing off. Very important. Try to get it sized up a little bit against that axis. Tab back out of edit mode, move that origin. There we go. And then we can go add our mirror modifier right there. Clipping, make sure it's connected, so we'll slide that over, and then you can always move it again to make sure it is actually clipped. Perfect. Front view, I'm sorry, side view, and we're just gonna size it down some more. We're gonna do subdivision surface modifier. Go ahead and crank that up to 3 as well, so we can start getting it rounded out, since our turkey is definitely not going to be a square. And we'll go ahead and add 2 loops vertically and 2 loops horizontally. And, you know, go ahead and size that out to make it a little bit more a clip shape. Bring that down, maybe not. Size the whole thing along the z-axis. I think that helps a little bit. And then we're gonna go to the top view, and we want to round it out some more, because right now it is pretty square again, but I want to angle this because the back is definitely wider than the front where the neck is. So kind of make this triangle-esque shape, and then we can grab these edges at the corner and just draw that in to get that roundish egg shape going. Grab these, maybe pull that in a little bit. Grab those, draw that in. Same with the bottom. It's looking good. I think I'll grab those again and pull that in even more. Better. Okay, so let's move on to the front. We're gonna use these faces up here for the neck flap. I'm not gonna do like a whole head and everything. Like, it's gonna be chopped off and just have that skin flap. So it's gonna be based around this vertice. We'll go ahead and switch to the face select mode. Grab these 2 faces here. We're gonna E to extrude and just hit escape. So then we'll go to side view, move them out, and then we're gonna go ahead and just size them down and size them along the y-axis and hit 0. Size it down again. Just go ahead, kind of line up how you want it. I'm probably gonna rotate that some. I don't need it completely flat. That was more of just getting my vertices aligned. And then I'm gonna go ahead and pull that along the X, make it a little less rectangular. Switch back to vertex select mode, grab this one, pull that in to make it a little bit more round, pull that up just a teeny bit. Grab these faces back, and we're gonna hit E to extrude again. And then we'll go ahead and pull that out, pull this up, and rotate that just a little bit to kind of keep the bottom a little more flat and the top sticking out some more. And we'll go ahead and pull that in. Pull this up, and get stick out a little more. Now we can grab those again, hit E to extrude, pull it out along the Y, pull it up along the Z, rotate it, grab these, pull them back in, pull that in a lot. Same with this one's, kind of get that dimple going. Grab these again, and we will hit E to extrude. Hit escape, size it in, pull this, go to front view, pull this in, grab that one. We can grab these, pull that out, pull that one out probably, and that one in a little bit. And we'll go ahead and E to extrude one last time, I think. Pull that in and pull it back. Yeah, I think that's looking pretty good. Just little minor tweaks here. It's still pretty rectangular though. So I think what I'll go ahead and do is go into wireframe view, grab this, and just compare real quick. Yeah, pull that into the center, make it a little bit more round, actually neck shaped. Cool. Thinking that's looking better. So for the next part, we'll go ahead and do the wings. So obviously I want probably the 4 faces selected, and I'm making this bottom piece here pretty long. Like, that's probably not going to change, just so I have plenty of space to go ahead and dip that into the table. So I do want more of an arch to the back too. So I'm going to grab these 2 vertices and pull them up like that. A little bit more here. That's looking better. Pull that down just a smidge. Okay. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and start doing the wings. We'll probably be focusing on these main 4 faces up at the front-ish. So we'll go ahead and switch to face select and grab those. And then, yeah, so we wanna go ahead and grab those. I think will be the best bet for us. Hit E to extrude, size that down. Go into front view because you'll notice that it kind of sank into it. So you'll want to definitely pull that out to make it back to being almost flush. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just kind of check it from the top, make sure there's nothing crazy going on. And then we'll go ahead and maybe size it a little more. Maybe like that. E to extrude again, and then we're just going to pull that out. A lot more dramatic that time. And you can start seeing the actual shape itself coming together. So, I mean, we haven't done much and we already noticed like a good amount. Let's pull it out some more to make it pretty dramatic. You can even sharpen it just slightly to make it a little bit more noticeable. I'm going to switch back to vertex select mode and sharpen that as well to make it a nice crease, makes it look like it's actually kind of separated. You can even size it in a little bit. You don't have to. I think I will just a smidge. And then I'm going to go ahead and size those out, make it stick out a little bit more, but you'll want to unsharpen this front edge here to make sure it looks like it is still attached there. And then we'll go ahead and grab this, maybe pull that back. And we'll go ahead and pull this back. And maybe, yeah, that's starting to look pretty good. Let's go ahead and go to wireframe view, grab these 2 vertices, go to the side view, pull those back, go back to wireframe view, border select those and pull it back even more, unselect those, grab these and pull that down. And we're just going to make that really dramatic to make sure it's evident that it's a wing. I like that. Pull that up. Yeah, and pull these forward. Cute. Basic little turkey wing. You can make it larger if you want. I think since we're gonna have the base so large, it's not that big a deal, so I think that's a good start. For the back, we're gonna be using these 4. Switch back to face select and grab those, so that way we can extrude these, and we're gonna extrude them, go into top view, pull it back along the Y and then the X. Oh, I messed up. Go ahead and undo that. So Control Z a couple times until it's back to normal. Uncheck clipping, and then you can extrude. Pull that out, pull it up. So that way you'll notice that we get the actual extra face in there, because like with the neck that you can see down there, we didn't need to do that extra face, but since we're actually having 2 different legs, we need to make sure there's another face there to separate them. So reapply clipping to make sure those don't come apart. Okay, so now we can focus back on the actual leg itself, size it along the y-axis a little bit. That better. Go back to vertex select, kind of bring that out, that back, kind of just smoothing it out a little bit. So make sure you get your topology ready to go. Maybe bring that up. Bring that in, down and up. Reselect those, go back into top view, and we'll go ahead and E to extrude again. Pull those out. Maybe size along the Y, size along the X. Looking better. And I'm actually gonna hit W and smooth. See how that helps. Helped a little bit. I will have to size that back up in a second. Like that. Looks good. E to extrude again. Pull that out, and then we're going to size that back down. And then let's see, let's try something else. Let's go ahead and size that Y 0 to get it completely flat, and then rotate it. Switch back to vertex select, SY 0, or just do it all the way manually, and then you can rotate a little bit to like that. And lastly, you'll want the other ring, SY0, or just size it manually like this. I don't like that. I just undid that. I'm going to leave it as is. So get back to normal there, and then we'll go ahead, have those 4 faces selected still. And from that, you can extrude and then just size it down, because this is where the bone will be. We will actually size along the Y with 0, just rotate it to fit. So that way it kind of looks like the bone, the meat is like forming over the bone, which is, how it's supposed to be, but just drag that down a little bit. E to extrude, go to top view, pull that out. Switch to vertex select, sharpen that edge. Grab that again, E to extrude, size it out. And I just want to tweak the vertices a little bit before I actually pull it more. Maybe make it a little bit more symmetrical. Make sure it doesn't get sunken in. Let's grab that ring again. And go to top view, pull it out. Like that. Looks pretty good. So from this, I'm going to switch to face select, and we're just going to grab these 2, go back to top view, and actually, we'll try it as is. You could certainly make those a little bit more symmetrical if you wanted. I'm just going to try it as is. So E to extrude, pull that out, and then go ahead and grab the other 2 faces. Top view, E to extrude, and pull those out as well. So I like actually how that's turning out, but I want to pull these out a little bit like that. Size it up, bring it back, size it like that. Looking better. Go back to vertex select, grab these 2, pull them back. So just minor tweaks to get it shaped a little bit better. Let's do that. We size those in to round it off. Same with the top ones. That looks pretty good. However, he is kind of flat. Usually their legs are kind of tied up. So I'm gonna grab the whole leg and then rotate. Undo that. I'm gonna go back down to proportional editing, hit connected, and then rotate and drag up. I think it looks better. Keeps a little bit together better. Ooh, the legs are still really far apart. Dang. Okay, so we'll keep just tweaking this until we're happy with it. I've never modeled a turkey before, so hopefully you guys are following along okay with my first attempt here. Usually I tend to do practice models before I do any kind of YouTube tutorial, but today I wanted to just kind of wing it and see what happened. Hopefully you guys don't mind. So if it seems a little bit choppier than normal, that's probably why. But I don't know. I wanted to have fun with it and not think too much on this one, since it was just food. So that way I could get just like the images from my mind into the 3D models and not go overboard. So, or else I would have gotten too detailed, and ooh, that's a little dramatic, but I would have gotten the models too detailed and not focused on the actual like mini cartoon style essence I was going for. So yeah, hopefully you guys are enjoying this. Let's see. Let's go ahead and add a circle, and we can make this our plate. So grab this outer ring, E to extrude. Oh, make sure you turn off your proportional editing, drag that down, and then we'll go ahead and fill that in at center. Okay, do Control R. We're gonna add 2 loops here. Grab this top ring, size that in like that, and then we're gonna just do Control R, do another one, grab those rings in that vertice, do Z0, And we can go ahead and grab that vertice and this ring, pull that down about there. Grab this ring, size that out. Looks good. See where it is. I might pull that up a little bit. About there. Okay. So that's a good base plate. So I'm going to rename that. So that way I have my original. Do that. I'm going to size it down, duplicate it, pull it over, and then I'm just going to do SY and pull it out to make it look like an actual platter. And pull it over, down. Grab the turkey, pull him over. And rotate that. See where I want to place it. Actually, you know what? I'm going to undo that. So I think I just want it in the center. I think would look best. Have it so it's just off the bread. Or I guess I could have it touching the bread. It doesn't really matter. Just make sure I bring it down to intersect with the table. So that way when the Boolean modifier gets added, it'll work perfectly, which looks good. All right, so we'll grab that turkey. Pull it over, bring it down, size it. Actually, let's go ahead and apply the mirror modifier, change the origin, pull it up, and sink it into the table. Looking good. Just going to top view. Wait. No, yep, top view, pull that over, okay, forward a little bit. All right, that's looking pretty good, actually. I'm happy with what I have so far. Okay, so this video took a lot longer than I thought it would to get these pieces done. So if you want more food pieces or you want to do like bottles of wine and tankards and things like that, leave in the comments below what else you'd like to see go on the table. I don't want this to be like a 2-hour video. So like I said, I'm just going to cut it here. And yeah, so hopefully you enjoyed this. Really quick and simple. It's just how to get these things on your table with minimal effort. That way you can whip them out whenever you're like, oh, I want this for a campaign. Here we go. Boom, boom. Here it is. So yeah, let me know if you liked it, what else you would like to see, if you want to continue with more food pieces, or you guys get the idea and you want to just make your own. Totally fine by me. So make sure you give this a thumbs up. Let me know what you want to see, and I will see you guys next week. Don't forget to subscribe.